guys, it's the Voodoo Doll from Noire Grimoire. It's been a long time. I hope you all are having a great summer. We're heading back into the fall pretty soon here, and some things are going to be changing with my company, my channel. I'm very excited. Not ready to announce everything next, but what I am going to do is tell you that at the end of the month I'm going on vacation. So what I'm going to do this week is I'm going to run a 50% sale off of certain items, get those spells done for you. That way at the end of the month I can disengage and just enjoy my vacation. I'm not going to work on vacation. I won't be answering your emails. I'm not going to do anything except for enjoy my surroundings. I headed back to New Orleans and just want to be in the magic and the peace of it before we head into fall. I have a feeling we're going to be heading into some lockdowns again, which sucks. So that's exactly why I want to enjoy my vacation as much as I can. So that's the announcement for the sales that are going to be on the site this week. Today I'm going to be teaching you about Auric Spheres. Auric, so your aura spheres. We're going to talk about the 4 different types. We're going to talk about an aura. We're going to do an aura test, and then we're going to talk about how to create the 4 different types. And then at the end, I have a little bonus for you. Some of you saw on my Instagram, I acquired a haunted doll. You've been asking me questions about her, so I'm just going to bring her on quickly and tell you all about her as well, and then it will be sayonara until the next video. So I'm excited. It's been a while since I brought you guys anything new, so this is exciting. So Auric Spheres, what is your aura? Your aura is the subtle body of energy around you. Some people claim that they can even see the auras without having to do anything special, that they can just see and sense the aura around someone. I myself cannot see an aura. I mostly sense. An aura is what you encounter when you first meet someone. Sometimes you meet someone and you take a step back, or you're put off by that person, or something doesn't feel right, as we like to say. That's their aura interacting with your aura. It's an energy, you're sensing it, no need to communicate it, it is there. Some people have a very welcoming aura where you want to step closer to them, or you feel comfortable in touching them when you speak. It just depends. So we're going to go over these 7 types of aura layers. I'm going to read this for you. Write this stuff down. Don't try to memorize it. It's honestly the best way to do it is to keep a little notebook of everything that you learn so you can refer to it later. You don't have to try to remember everything to prove that you're the baddest witch on the planet. You just need the information. So the 7 layers. So we have the physical layer. We have the astral, the higher mental, spiritual, intuitional, and absolute. So the physical layer is, this is the layer that diminishes when we're awake and replenishes when we are asleep. That is the type of astral layer that doesn't really stay as strong throughout the day. It dissipates. Our 5 senses are connected to that astral layer as well, or auric layer as well. The astral, that's the second one. So this is an emotional layer that we carry our emotions in and our sensitivities. This is the layer where we provide self-love and where our thought patterns reside. Our next one is our higher mental. Our higher mental, we know, the bridge between the other layers. It connects your care for yourself and your care for others. And we have our spiritual. And this layer connects with other people over spiritual matters, going to church, having some sort of religious affiliation, even if it's not religious, if you belong to a coven, something spiritual. This is how we connect with people over the spiritual matters that are important to us. They're intuitional. A lot of us have strong intuition. When you interact with someone that doesn't have strong intuition, it drives you insane. Let me just tell you that. When you're blessed with intuition, this is your third eye. So our third eye is here. It helps you see dreams and be aware of your instincts. A lot of us have not developed this. It's an argument that you're either born with it or you're not. I agree with that because you'll try to teach people common sense and you will just be the one that's frustrated. So I really believe it's something that you're born with. Then we have our absolute layer. So our absolute is the net that keeps each individual layer confined and balanced in harmony. Some of our absolute auric layers are just completely out of whack. So the 7 colors refer to the 7 chakras. So I'm going to do here is just read you an aura color test. Take this test and just figure out what is your dominant color, because when we do our exercises on creating our auric spheres, our ASP, Auric Spheres of Power, we're going to think about the color that is our predominant color when we're filling our spheres. So take this test. It's just a few questions. Whenever you get a chance, get a pen and paper. I'm going to read you a question with a series of answers. The first thing that resonates to you when you say, aha, that's it, no matter if you've heard anything else, write that down. Not the actual statement, but just the letter. So we're going to go A through G. So I'm going to read it, and then I'll read you the answers. So, number 1. Which of the following most closely describes your personality? A, energetic and forceful. B, thoughtful and considerate. C, healthy and friendly. D, sociable and a people person. E, caring and helpful. F, spiritual and humble. G, tender and sympathetic. Number 2, this statement fits you. A, I anger easily. B, I like physical activities. C, I dislike rules. D, I communicate easily. E, I love to help others. F, I daydream. G, I enjoy learning new things. Number 3, you would describe yourself as A, a loner. B, a risk taker. C, spontaneous. D, a nature lover. E, a good listener. F, a visionary. G, extremely sensitive. 4, overall, you are A, realistic. B, confident. C, optimistic. D, outgoing. E, intuitive. F, curious. And G, idealistic. 5, others say you are A, well-grounded. B, brave. C, creative. D, love-centered. E, highly spiritual. F, imaginative. And G, independent. 6, which of the following is your favorite? A, flowers. B, chocolate. C, shoes. D, rings and earrings. E, home furnishings. F, makeup. G, candlelight dinner. 7, you think of yourself as A, tenacious. B, strongly motivated. C, focused on a plan of action. D, a person with a benevolent character. E, a person with well-developed instincts. F, a modest individual. G, a person who remembers her dreams. 8, if you weren't feeling well, what would be your most common ailment? A, nervous and anxiety. B, body aches from overexertion. C, stomach. D, shortness of breath. E, sore throat. F, watery or dry eyes. G, a headache. In the workplace, you, A, are a team player. B, prefer a challenge. C, like to work with your hands. D, strive to complete tasks flawlessly. E, feel guilty if you have to say no. F, feel your appearance takes precedence. G, frequently end up in a leadership position. 10, an overall statement about yourself. A, I am sometimes blunt, but only if I wish to be honest. B, I love adventure and thrilling activities, even if they're a little dangerous. C, activities like dancing and exercise can be fun. Actually, they're my favorites. D, I am an organized person who loves to be intellectually stimulated. E, material possessions are not my priority. F, I sometimes feel like a fish out of water, especially in a large group. G, the environment is a major concern of mine. So here are the answers. If a majority of your answers are A, your aura is predominantly red. If a majority of your answers are B, your aura is predominantly orange. C, predominantly yellow. D, predominantly green. E, predominantly blue. F, predominantly indigo. And G, predominantly violet. So if your answers are divided between 2 or 3 colors, it means your aura fluctuates between those particular colors, or you may have a combination of those colors in your aura. If you have even numbers, pick the one that you're drawn to. This is the color that you're going to work with when they're actually infusing our auric sphere of power with light and energy. So I'm going to give you the meanings of the colors really quickly. So here are the meanings of each color. So if you are predominantly red, this is what it means for you. Predominantly red, you're strong-willed, straightforward, energetic, forceful, well-grounded, hard worker, team player, active, competitive, realistic, impulsive, and overwhelmed by change. If a health issue arises, it will be due to anxiety. Orange, you are courageous, adventurous, thoughtful, considerate, self-assured, detail-oriented, and sometimes a lack in self-discipline. Health issues usually stem from the kidney or reproductive organs. Our yellows are laid back, playful, creative, friendly, optimistic. You avoid conflict. Your feelings are easily hurt, timid, you have mental alertness, and your health issues relate to your spleen. Green, social. You love people, animals, and nature, good communicator, perfectionist, quick-witted, organizer, impatient, trustworthy, nurturing. Your lungs are your major health issue. Our blues are helpful, caring, spiritual, intuitive, generally at peace and content, understanding, may experience health issues related to your throat or your thyroid. You're also peacemaker, steadfast, and free thinker. Our indigos, you are imaginative, daydreamer, curious, deep inner feelings. You sometimes lack self-esteem, gentle, unassuming, an introvert, calm, and modest. Your eyes are your health concerns. Our violets, your violets are idealistic, most sensitive and wisest of the colors, a seeker of truth, independent, intellectual, extroverted, and authoritative. Some people with violet aura color have psychic powers, and anything with the pineal gland and nervous systems are going to be your health-related problems. So now you have your colors. You may not agree with everything that goes with each color, but it just gives you a little guideline. So now we're going to talk about creating our auric spheres of power. So what these are programmable energy balls that we can use to protect ourselves, our homes, our pets, our family, our friends, whatever it is. We can create these, big or small, to protect ourselves. The bigger you create it, the less strong it is because it's not as concentrated. The smaller it is, the stronger it is. So to start with even trying to feel your energy and your aura, anything like that, you can take your hands and snap your fingers and rub your hands together. Rub your hands together, like remember when you're a little kid and you're trying to get the static off the carpet to shock the shit off of somebody. That's what you're gonna do here. You're just rubbing, getting the energy. Take your hands and put your hands almost touching each other. Now there should be a heat or pulse that you feel there. If it's just the warmth of your hands, that will dissipate, but I want you to be able to feel what's there after it dissipates. So normally you'll feel a little bit of heat, and then you'll be able to feel a surge. Some of us feel coldness between our hands, freezing cold air. That's normal. Some of us may not be able to feel anything, which means you have to work a little bit harder. Now, if you move your hands apart, notice what you feel. And pushing your hands back together, almost touching, what do you feel? Moving apart, what do you feel? So you should be able to feel something that's almost viscous, like a rubber band or something that you can feel. It's tighter, thicker when you're closer together, and then when you pull your hands apart, my hands are actually not wanting to go apart, they're wanting to stay where they are. Then it should feel thinner, cooler. You should be able to manipulate it. Imagine if you had gum in between your palms, and when you got closer, it's really sticky, and then when you pull apart, you see the strings That's kind of how you want to feel that energy in between your hands. If you don't feel anything at all, that's not abnormal. You have to keep working at it. So we're just trying to strengthen that power between our hands. Between our hands is where we're going to create these. Now, there's 4 different types of balls that you can create here. The 4 different types are going to be your mirror, and then we have our absorptive ball, we have our transmutative ball, and our multi-layer ball of power. So if we were creating a mirror ball is basically anything that I encounter is going to bounce off of that sphere that's protecting me and go back to the sender in the same way that it came to me. You can even program it that it's amplified. So if something good comes your way, then it amplifies it and more good goes back to the sender. If something really shitty and nasty comes your way, then it sends it back and it's amplified. This is the purpose of a mirror ball. So when you're creating this mirror ball, you want to actually take a mirror, put it on the table, and I don't have a table here, but I would have a mirror underneath my hands, and I would have my hands in front of me, and I would have them over that mirror, and I would start forming this. And I'm actually going to make my hands kind of round, and I'm going to sit here and I'm just going to funnel all that energy. If my predominant color of aura was red, I would be thinking of red, and what I would be doing is pulling that color down from the universe through the top of my head all the way down through my arms. My whole body is radiating with that type of red energy coming from the universe down to your head, coming through your body. Imagine that it's just pulsing through your body. And when you're ready, you push it out of your hands. You have to have a good memory for this, or a good imagination for this, and push that red light out of your hands. And in between my hands, I'm creating a red ball. If it's green, then do it for green. And I'm pushing all that light into it, and I'm creating this bright red ball. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it as big or as small as it needs to be. So if I'm going to make it small, I'm just going to go ahead and focus here. If I need to stretch it and make it bigger, I'm going to keep stretching it, and I'm going to imagine that it gets bigger. And as I told you, when it gets bigger, it gets weaker. If I need to make this thing the size of a house, I also need to know that this thing is going to be very porous and it's not going to reflect everything that it needs to. So I'm going to imagine it as big as it needs to be. I'm going to do mine about this big, and this is what I want it to be. I have my mirror underneath, and I'm envisioning this. I'm going to push all my intent into this. My intent is that everything that comes to me goes back to the sender, manifested exponentially in strength. I want it to be very, very strong. If it's goodness that comes to me, then I want more goodness to go back to that person. So that's what I'm pushing into this, and I'm pushing it out of my body. Pushing it out, and I'm going to push that ball. Like, imagine if you had a little ball and it was floating here, and then with your hands and energy, you're pushing that ball out in front of you, and then it is radiating its red light, and we have that ball. That's what we're envisioning. That's following us around. That's in the car with us. It's in the house with us, the grocery store, wherever we go. This is what's in front of us, is this red ball, deflecting anything that comes to us. I feel it. I know it's there. Nothing's going to get past this ball. And it's small, so it's super strong. And that is exactly how you do this when you're creating anything. You can even imagine a soft red glow coming out of that's radiating past the ball. You can imagine white light around the ball. Whatever works for you. You have to kind of flex your imagination and get out of the, oh, this is silly, because this is how you make things happen. This is how you become superhuman. This is how you develop your psychic powers. This is how you develop anything outside of yourself, is you have to practice with your imagination. So that is the mirror ball. If I were going to do my absorption ball, absorption is how it sounds. Anything that comes to me, anything bad that comes to me or negative, this ball is going to absorb it, and it's going to shoot it out into the ether or whatever it is. It's not going to stay stagnant. It's not going back there. I'm not carrying it around with me. It's gone. So if somebody is living with a toxic person, working in a toxic environment, whatever it is, a mirror may not be the best option for you, because you're in that space. So if you're in the space and you have a bunch of shit ricocheting off of your mirror sphere, you're just going to sit there and watch fight over here, argument over here, drama over here, stabbing over here. Like, that's not what you want. You don't want to be in the vicinity with this mirror ball ricocheting all this stuff off of you, but affecting everybody else around you. So you would try to use the absorption sphere. And with that, same thought process, pushing your color out, pushing it into it, and imagining that it's going to absorb everything. For this, to help our sympathetic magic, we would use a sponge, maybe one of those big sea sponges, have it on your lap, and then go ahead and focus on top of that sponge. We're creating our sphere, making it as big or small as it needs to be, and imagining that everything that shoots towards us is going to absorb in here and disappear. It's not going anywhere. It can go no further. It's not going to harm me. It's not going to harm anything. It just disappears. Imagine it going through a black wormhole and just shooting out wherever we don't care. It's just no longer here anymore. So that is the absorption sphere. That's a very kind way to be, and not sending things back to people. Is just to absorb it and have it be done. The next type is the Transmute Auric Sphere. Now this one you need to be careful with, because this is when you change energy into something different and send it out. You cannot control, as strong as you are, as strong as you think you are, you're not going to be able to control what it changes into. You can think as hard as you want. I want all negative energy that comes to me to turn into rainbows and gumdrops. You cannot control that. That negative energy may come to you, and it may come out, and it may be super lethargy for the person. So that person may be super negative, and all of a sudden they just become this lethargic, chronic fatigue stricken individual, and they don't know why. And you may not even see this person again, but you've affected this person's life to where they are now this way because what they gave you came in and shot back out to something that you can't control. We don't really want to do that unless we know I'm here and I'm observing the person. If I was going to do a transmutative sphere, it would be in my home or somewhere where I can monitor it. That way I can go in and tweak and fix what I need to fix. I never want to harm or change someone and have them go through the rest of their life whatever and not in their best form, and they don't deserve it. Everybody has bad days. Everybody's a bitch sometimes. All of us say mean things every once in a while. We don't want to change people and affect them and then send them on their merry way, and we don't know how we've changed them. We want to be really controlled when we're using a transformative or transmutative, however you want to say it, Auric Sphere of Power. So this one is, you cannot control it. The energy is going to come in and it is going to transform into the easiest thing that's available. Someone's super negative, it's probably going to transform into something along the same negative vibration. It's not going to make them a happy-go-lucky person. So this one we want to be kind of careful with in using this one. The next one is going to be your multi-layered. Your multi-layered is extremely difficult, and I'll tell you why. This is the one where, say you have that one problem person and you use the mirror sphere on them, but it just mirrored back negativity to them because they're a negative ass person, but they thrive on negativity and chaos. This is the type of person that goes in and starts a fight wherever they go. They start an argument. They're always super defensive. So if you're sending back negativity to them and they thrive on that, you're just giving them fuel. So the mirror didn't work on them. It fed them and it made them supercharged. So you tried the absorption and it did not work because they were shooting so much negativity out. Your sphere became so heavy and downtrodden that you began to feel heavy and you had to discharge it. That's another thing. When your absorption sphere gets heavy, you may have to discharge it, send it out. Just basically saying thank you for your service. Go ahead and send it out into the void, wherever that is, with everything contained in it, nothing escaping and away from you, and start over and create a new one. You'll begin to feel when it's full. You'll feel heavy. You'll feel downtrodden. You'll feel it. Send it off, create a new one, and carry that one around with you. So you tried the absorption, it just kept getting heavy. You tried the transmutation one on this individual, and you can't see any results on how the energy has changed. It hasn't created the desired effect. So then you might want to do a multi-layered one, which may be a mirror one to send things back and then absorb what it can't send back, or you're trying to do an absorption one, and you're absorbing, but then anything that can't be absorbed when your sphere gets full, then you transmute and send back. This is the trickiest thing because it is so hard to feel like, okay, I have an absorption and a transmutation one. How do I know when the absorption is full and not working and now it's doing transmutation? What if it does it at the wrong time? You know, it's extremely hard to try to do multi-layered ones. I personally don't do it. I just like to go ahead and I do use the transmute one. I do use the mirror one. Absorption, not so much. I like to send it back or send it back in a different form. So that would be a little difficult. Again, you would do your same thing. If you're trying to do multi-layered, if you're doing a mirror one, you're going to create your sphere on top of a mirror, and then you're going to work around that. So I've created the small core one, and then say it's this big, then I'm going to go on top of that one, imagining the one in the middle, and I'm going to create another one on top of it, having my sympathetic magic item underneath it. If it be a sponge, a snake skin, whatever it is that you're using, you're going to have that. You can be as creative with this as you want. If you are trying to really harm someone and you're doing the mirror and you want it to go back and I want it to be strong, you could use a mirror and you could use coffin nails. You know, really stick it to that person, make sure it's deadly almost, you know, it goes back to them in a form that is so severe that it might just stop them and not actually fuel their fire if there's someone that thrives in chaos. It's up to you, it's your magic. I'm just giving you the foundations of how to do it and how to create these. They are very helpful if you are someone who's an introvert and you're going into a situation where there's going to be a lot of people. Maybe you just want to be kind of invisible. You can use the mirror sphere to kind of protect yourself and just say, you know, don't see me. Just see past me. You know, don't notice me, my awkwardness, whatever it is. I just want to have that invisible shield around me, and I just want to make it through this event, this whatever it is, and I'm going to create that ball to where people really don't engage with me, because when they see me, they're seeing through me, or they're seeing themselves or whatever. They're not seeing me. They're seeing past me, and sometimes we just don't feel like being bothered. Traveling, safety, mirror sphere to protect yourself. If you're a woman traveling alone, maybe do that to protect yourself, not wanting to be seen by men or danger or anything, everything reflecting off of you, not really wanting to absorb it because you don't want to carry that with you on your trip. So mirror and reflect and be done. There's so many things that you can do with these 4 types of spheres. You have to just sit down and create your magic. Be creative with it. Things will come to you out of the blue, you know, like I said, snake skin. If you're dealing with one in particular person, you know you're going to see that person today at a certain time, 4 o'clock, okay, 3:50, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to create this sphere, and in my pocket I got a mirror and I got some snake skin, or I just have snake skin because I'm doing a transmute, and my, you know, my thought process is let them transform, you know, into the real snake ass bitch that they are, whatever it is, and that's the energy that I'm putting into the sphere. I go have my encounter with this person, then when I'm done, I discharge that sphere, tell it thank you for your service, and send it off, because I sure don't want anybody else to encounter me and that sphere work on them, but I'm just trying to work on one specific person. So be creative with this and have fun. I think it's a great way to strengthen your psychic senses. You'll be able to feel things a lot more thoroughly, especially when you have this tethered to you, because it is tethered to you. Be able to feel it. Like, ooh, I feel like something just missed me, you know, I don't know what it is, but I can feel it. You'll start to get in tune with those things. So that is the Auric Spheres. Very simple. If you have any questions, go ahead and hit me up and I will answer them as quickly as I can. So for the last part, you guys were asking me about my little haunted doll. So I'm going to grab her and I will tell you all about her. Okay, so this is my little sweetness. This is Bet. I named her Bet, B-E-T-T-E. I was going to name her something cute that matched with a K like me, but I decided to name her Bet. It kind of just stuck out. I acquired her at a secondhand store. I walked into the store and didn't see her, walked right past her. This store never has toys. I was in there looking for candelabras and, you know, gothic things that I like for my home. And when I went up to the register, I saw her sitting there. Now, another thing you should know about this little girl is that she is heavy. She weighs probably 20 pounds. She's weighted to feel like a real child. So when I saw her, I saw her sitting up on her own on the glass counter. And I'm thinking, how the hell is that doll sitting up like that? You know, does she have a brace on her spine, whatever? So the guy saw me looking at her and he calls me out of line and he says, you know, do you want her? Name your price. And I said, well, how much is she? You know, and he said, just what do you want to pay? I'm like, I don't know. And I went to pick her up and immediately I was like, oh God, she is super heavy and she's big. She's really big. She's about 30, a little taller than 3 feet, and she weighs about 20 pounds. So she was just pristine. I'm like, my God. So I picked her up, I looked at the price, and he says, you know, I just need her gone. I can't take any more. Please take her. Whatever you want to pay, I'll charge you. So we came up with the price, and I just loved her. Immediately just squeezed her, you know, and just gave her a little hug. When I got her, absolutely love her. There's nothing wrong with her, you know, negative wise. I think he was just scared of her. There's definitely an energy with her, but she's as sweet as can be. I can notice sometimes when I look at her, I can tell her face changes in pictures. I'll take 20 pictures of her, her face is different in 10. It's, you know, not necessarily that the actual doll is changing physically, but they're influencing the energy around you. You're seeing them like how they want to be seen. She's very innocent. She hasn't caused anything weird in here at all. She's very sweet. Every time I see her, I want to pick her up and hug her and just love on her. She's just such a cute little doll. She was pristine and clean, and when I started Googling, I found out that she actually is over like 26 years old, and she's this clean. She just had a couple little stains on her dress, and someone, I don't know who, has decided to poke her little eyes out. So that's the only thing that she's sustained. She's still got the little curls in her hair. She's just adorable. So she lives here with me now. I love her very much. She's my little daughter because I'm never having kids. So that is how I found Miss Bet. She has her own little space and she's just good to go. Yeah, so that's how I found her. She chose me for sure. I wasn't even going to go to that store that day. So I was ecstatic to have her because I've been wanting a little haunted doll for my collection forever. So this is Miss Bet. She's pleased to meet you all, and she will be here in a few more videos and pictures. You'll see a lot of her. So thanks for watching, and I will hopefully see you all soon. Have a good end of summer, and I look forward to bringing you some new information and education in the fall. Bye.